All right, Sunday Roundtable ready to go. Joining us this morning, Democratic political analyst Marianne Marsh and Republican political analyst Rob Gray. Let's start with Jake Auchincloss. I know we've got a lot to get to. It's the last day of the Biden administration. But first to the congressman, what struck you from the conversation?
I didn't hear no in that.
On the running against Ed Markey?
Yeah, it was a humana maybe kind of, and then he got out of it, and he was a little critical of Markey, but here are the signs. He's raised almost $5 million already. He had an op-ed in the Globe today on Friday. On the opposite side of TikTok is Ed Markey. He's gotten onto the Energy and Commerce Committee, which is not another place to draw contrast with Ed Markey, and a plum perch to raise even more money. So when you look at all the dots are starting to add up, and keeping Democrats in to win the House back, a Democrat will always win that congressional seat.
Quickly, though, Joe Kennedy III, who held the 4th District seat prior to him, tried this. It did not work out well for him in 2020.
It's been if you look at Biden and others and what has happened since that last re-election, everyone is fair game now.
And Markey's a lot older.
He's 6 years older.
Yeah.
You think he's running?
I think Markey's running.
You think Auchincloss is going to challenge him?
I think he's looking at it.
Yeah. He's definitely considering it.
I think it's more than that.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, anything else strike you from the conversation?
Well, I mean, the other thing was TikTok. I think the congressman's making a name for himself out there as kind of the police of social media and safety in social media. And I think he's being pretty effective about it.
All right. Governor Maura Healey now at the midway point in her term as chief executive. During her State of the Commonwealth address last week, she talked about changes in the right to shelter law, also reining in costs. Her policies have been the focus of fierce criticism, including background checks at shelters and the billions it has cost taxpayers to fund the whole system. Do you think her course correcting will work, Rob?
Well, right now it's just headlines. She said they were going to do background checks on and criminal background checks on shelter residents. It never happened. And this week she says, whoops, it never happened, but we'll do it now. So I think all of these things make headlines, but are they implemented in policy? The fact is, all of these hotels are still taken over. The state government is still paying for thousands of rooms every single night, paying hotel owners for these things for 3 meals a day. There's no end in sight.
What do you think, Marianne? Now, Maura Healey does say that she will, her goal is to have families out of hotels by the end of 2025. What do you think about that?
Goal.
I think the speech, the State of the Commonwealth speech, could have been, we can do hard things, and we did. And she had her best opportunity on Thursday night to put this whole issue and address it in one place with the biggest audience she's had, which is put the blame squarely where it belongs. Donald Trump, Republicans in Congress to pass a bipartisan immigration bill. Here are all the things we've been doing. She promised that there would not be any immigrants in hotels a year from now. That's something she's got to make good on. And all the things she's done along the way. Every governor has had to confront this, and she's had it particularly tough. And the fact she wants to make a change to the right to shelter law tells you everything.
She's been criticized, certainly by Republicans and others, for the way she's managed the situation.
I don't hear any Republicans in Massachusetts criticizing Donald Trump when he instructed the House and Senate Republicans not to pass that bill so he could have a campaign issue.
All right, the governor is also looking to finally end the funding shortfalls for the MBTA, the perpetual funding shortfall. She announced an $8 billion, with a B, dollar plan to upgrade the state's transportation system. The money comes from taking a bigger chunk of the millionaire's tax. Right now, it is split 60-40, with 60% going to education. This would move it to about 50-50. It would also change. So will that fly, Marianne?
I think so, and it's more equitable. The fact is, everybody uses transportation. Not everybody has kids in schools. You need a well-trained workforce who can actually get to work on transportation.
Not everyone takes the T, though.
Right,
but they're on roads, they're on bridges,
bridges,
everything else. So,
Rob?
Listen, the teachers union that pushed this ballot question, they advertised this as a 50-50 split, transportation and education. That's what the voters voted for. So this will fly and just drive around. We desperately need the infrastructure on transportation.
President Biden's farewell address was more of a cautionary tale. He did talk about his accomplishments, but his most memorable lines were about the rise of oligarchs in America. Elon Musk, Mark Zuckerberg, Sam Altman, Jeff Bezos, all on board with President-elect Donald Trump. So Who's the boss here, Marianne?
The tech bros, and they own Trump. They own our social media. They own our legacy national media outlets. They own Wall Street. They own everything we do, and they're going to exert that power, which they're going to have over the federal government tomorrow at noon when Trump gets sworn in. And I think everybody needs to understand that, because they're doing it for their own personal gain and their business's personal gain and at everyone else's expense.
Who's the boss? What do you think?
I mean, you got to love these guys, except for Musk, who put himself on the line for Trump with the hundreds of millions of dollars and being out there every day on the campaign trail. These other guys just stick their finger in the air. If Kamala Harris had been elected, Mark Zuckerberg would still be doing content moderation at Facebook. They go along to get along, and they're being successful at it.
Senate Democrats didn't hold their fire during confirmation hearings last week. Republicans held firm. Do you think that'll change for RFK Jr. and Tulsi Gabbard?
I think RFK Jr. is going to get in at this point. Tulsi Gabbard, I hope not. It's a matter of national security.
Will Trump get everybody?
It looks like he could, and I would add Kash Patel to that too. But all Democrats can do at this point is not only criticize, but hang those appointees around the necks of every Republican in 2026.
The Senate seems to be laying down for Trump pretty much.
Yeah, I think Joni Ernst was an indicator of that. All right, more with the Roundtable right after this.